Hi, welcome to Little Mirrors. I'm Iolanthe.
And I'm Yule.
And this is our baby Agla. Today it's a overcast, mild Saturday in Melbourne, and we're lucky enough to come to the Abbottsford Convent. So far we've eaten how many pies?
I've had, one pie and one quiche.
I have had likewise, and I had a Dalgona coffee. It was very nice. So we've had a good morning so far. We wanted to create a vlog for you on the go today, which is actually dealing with the subject of going back to work, because I have formally returned to work, and as part of being able to do that, we have taken Agla to childcare. So Yule, would you like to describe the first morning of taking Agla to childcare?
It was quite exciting.
Yeah, it was.
It felt very natural. It really threw me back to my childhood of like the rush in the morning, trying to get everything ready for school.
Yeah.
Getting lunch ready, making sure the bag's packed, everything's there. Everyone's trying to have breakfast and prepare themselves for their day, and you're not sure how long it's going to take to before you're actually ready and whether you're going to make it on time.
Yeah.
There was a bit of fear around kind of that, because it was the first time we're really trying to do it at pace in the morning.
Yeah.
To a deadline sort of thing. And but it felt nice. It really felt like as a family we were reaching some kind of milestone that day.
Yeah, and I think it is a milestone to leave your child in care. It feels different leaving your child in care at a formal childcare space rather than with grandparents, because we've relied really heavily on my parents with Agla for work. So when we went that first day, it was just an orientation day, so she was to be there for 2 days in a row for an hour a day, which is just chump change. Now Agla can do a full 7-8 hour day, being charming, it's fine. Anyway, the first day, I felt quite nervous before we went, and I felt a kind of a sense of nervous anticipation. And so we went in for that hour, and Agla hadn't been in that environment before, and there were some other babies there, and one of them started crying, and Agla's eyes opened, and this is a new space, new smells, new sounds. She hadn't heard a baby crying before, except for herself. And I fed her a little bit, and then I left her with the carer, and Yule and I went up the road for a coffee, and I cried all the way up the road. I felt a sense of, I wasn't worried about Agla's safety or anything like that. Nor did I think it was inappropriate that she was going to childcare. I think it was a sense of, it was like kind of a feeling of grief. That's the best way I'd describe it. Yule, what would you say about how I responded to that?
Yeah, I think that it was just maybe a sense of shock. You had never really, I don't think it was, you weren't really distraught, or I think it was just some kind of shock, and you didn't really have an emotion to really, other than grief or sadness that you seemed to be experiencing. I don't think you really had the exact emotion in your repertoire to call on. So that's kind of how you responded.
Yeah. So the first week was just a couple of hours. The second week was 2 half days, and then she was straight into 8 hours. We're fortunate in that Agla is naturally very social, and she's taken to childcare very, very well. She is, it seems, quite adored by her carers. So she's really taken to it well. And sometimes when I drop her off, I might feel a little bit like, I don't want to leave her, but that's not because she's crying out for me or, she's expressing FOMO. It's more, I guess, that attachment to her. But once I'm in the car and I'm pumping up the soundtrack to Hamilton and I'm going on my way to work, I love being at work. It is so much fun, and it is like it's not a return to form, because it's a new me now that I'm a mum, but it's very pleasurable being at work. And the payoff is that Agla needs to be in care, and that's just the way it is. I think it's good for Agla. I think it's good for us. So childcare, it's a winner. Even though Agla began at just on 4 months of age, making her quite a young baby for care.
3 months.
3 months.
Because she's She's older than that
But
now.
she's just a little ripper. And she started testing out her immune system. She gave me an interesting bout of gastro a couple of weeks ago, and she's had a cold, which now I have managed to get. But, you know, that's part of the ecosystem of a family, and just got to suck it up.
So what are your thoughts on when you got Agla was ill and you couldn't actually go back to work on those days? What are your thoughts about that?
At childcare, if your child exhibits any signs of illness, you'll need to come in and pick them up. They won't give Panadol or Fess or anything like that. So I needed to come and pick Agla up halfway through my working day. Was it inconvenient? Yes. Was I worried about my baby's health more than I was concerned about the inconvenience? Yes. So I didn't. Once I got the call, I just wanted to go and pick her up. She was fine, by the way. When a baby or a child is ill, though, I will say that it threw both of our working weeks out completely, because it meant that she couldn't go back to care for those days, and that we needed to rely both on each other. I needed to rely really heavily on my staff, even more than usual, and we needed to rely on my parents a lot. So fortunate in our case because my parents are available, but when your kid gets sick and they can't go to care, even with the advent of us, you know, Zooming more often as professional workers, it's really hard to work with when you're taking care of a baby.
Yeah, you need to be responsive to them.
Yeah.
And if they're crying, you know.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Yeah. So yeah, when baby's sick, like, you know, it's not much fun, but it's all part of being a family, isn't it, Agla?
And growing up.
Yeah.
And getting a strong immune system.
Yeah. Childcare, it's great. I think that it's great for socialising your baby. It's great for getting into work. We've both had a couple of really awesome professional wins in the past couple of weeks as well. So we're going to do another video about that separately. But if you've got any questions about childcare, any concerns that you might have about, you know, perhaps the age you're going to put your baby in, please comment below. Any final closing words?
No, I think that's about it. I'm just interested to hear how you're getting on.
Yeah, well, except for the fact I've got a cold, but that's life, isn't it? So in closing, Abbotsford Convent, haven't been for a while, it's a revelation. It's great, please come visit. And I'm Iolanthe.
And I'm Yule.
This is Little Mirrors. Bye.